Welcome to the Reglow space here. We're going to be continuing this mask with Pipple, and and so let us enter into the plane of imagination, standing on the land with the sky above and the sea that surrounds. We call in the elements of fire, water, earth, and air. To lift up the flag of imagination, symbolizing our entrance into the plane of imagination. Okay. So, yesterday well, first of all, thank you for tuning in and joining me in this space. Feel free to comment any questions or comments that you might have. We're doing our daily rituals, our daily sewing ritual. It lasts about an hour. And this is the mask for the grandmother's velvet garden. And where we left off yesterday was the place of stitching these two nettings together along a line of a shaped line, maybe mirroring this flower somehow, of them overlapping. And so it can be shaped. The red layer might be shaped in a certain way and the green layer might be shaped in another way, and we're going to stitch along those edges to connect them. And so in this plane, anything that I say, any sewing thing or action, I'm going to be kind of narrating what I'm doing. And when we're listening to this, it can be an analogy that's recontextualized into your present reality. And so it can relate symbolically and through analogy as maybe a reflection or some kind of relative relation to where you're at. And so I'd love to hear what you have to say about that. Oh, I see that I was also going to create a couple more pleats. Yesterday we stitched 3 pleats here, or darts, and then we added a couple more that lifted the leaves up in an upward direction. So we can do that before we baste the netting together. So that we can maintain this shape. Baste or stitching just something to hold this dart, because we're going to be attaching the flower to this band here. So coming over to the iron. And this shape is like a curved shape, and I'm gonna place it in a flattened position. Like this part, the netting is curving up. You can see it's curved up like this. And so if I just lay it in a flattened position where the iron can iron these darts, then I can make a clean press before I stitch. And then again after I stitch, avoiding heating up the netting, because different nettings might like shrink up with heat unless you're like stretching and molding them, but this one I want to keep it just the way that it is for now. And then we're going to be stitching the back side so that the fold has some volume on the facing side. You can see the stitches that I did yesterday. So we're going to be adding some more here and here. Right before I started this live, I was like, I took a sip of my water with like apple cider vinegar in it, and it tickled my throat and made it but I think I'm recovered now. It's okay. Okay, so we're gonna be inserting our needle. We're gonna be knotting here, right at the base of the dart, and we're gonna be hiding our tail, anchoring the knot inside the material. And I got the bite capturing this material, the lighter printed material and the green ribbing. The bite that I took was like going through both of them, so it's anchored into both where they come together. And now I'm just going to take small stitches using one hand to hold everything in place, and then the other hand to guide the needle. And so We're using a red thread this time. Oh, I'm going to lift the screen up from the camera. Okay. So, yeah, we're using the red thread this time. As we surrender to the cycles of existence and not just binary logic, but also the cosmic logic within the stars, interpreting things through our intuition, our resonance, also questioning how our resonance has been charged and where we carry our bias. We're surrendering to that and the essence of our being and the process as it unfolds. And I'm thinking about that because I'm thinking of the flower, the essence of a flower is to be what it is. And so when it comes into being and it blossoms in the sun, that's what the vision that I get when I think of surrender. And so then thinking about the leaves that hold it, that kind of protect it as it is growing, and also connect it to the stem, which connects down into the roots, down into the ground. Okay, so now we're gonna anchor off here. So in this place, the red, it makes me think of our roots. And in this place, it makes me think of the connection between the life that moves through that. So I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Anchor it. Leave the tail so that the tail has space to hang, so to speak, so that it's not so close to the knot that the knot would come unraveled. And we're anchoring by making a loop. When we don't pull our needle all the way through, we loop through that with our needle 2 times. And we do that sequence twice, and then that secures it. And then trimming our tails. So trimming our tails, what might that be like in a recontextualized place? What might that be like for you? Is it like trimming your hairs? Grooming? Like that that feeling of like, yeah, self-grooming, self-love, or even as we do that with each other. Like, when was the last time someone brushed your hair for you or braided your hair for you? Or that you did for another person? Just thinking about those intimate places of just tenderness. That kind of go beyond any kind of definition and just, I mean, they don't have to, but I'm mostly just thinking about the narratives of these like overarching narratives that we're processing and dealing with, and like the layers of them, and then in what telling are they healing? Because we'll all have a different perspective and a different position within the collective story, so I think acknowledging it is probably the best place to start. And then through our tenderness, whether it be grooming our hair or our gardens, the gardens of our minds, or the gardens of the earth. Okay. You see what we have here. So going to focus. Oh, there we go. So that's what we have to go around the head. How do we zoom back out? Zoom out. Okay. Back to the head. Back to Pipple. Back to connecting with our intersubjectivity here with Pipple. And seeing, witnessing each other acknowledging each other. Okay, so now we have these 2 layers and we're going to join them. Shadow dancing all through the veil, shadow over rail, what will prevail underneath the 2, the green and red. Whoa, 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 whoa. See the layers, all the different like densities and layers of the shadow? See the transparency? The reflection of light? The eclipsing of the light at different degrees from different angles. Okay. So, just gonna get our pins and just nestle these 2 together. First, marking where the center point is. Finding that from folding it in half. Center point here. And then nestling in. I'm going to make a tack here with my thread because the needles just pull right through. So we're going to make some tacks with this. I'm not going to knot anything, just making a few little stitches to hold it in place. And I'm going to do the same thing here in the center point. Na 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 na. I feel like this is becoming a little tiara. The tiara just for grandmother's velvet garden. Just the place for it. When the costumes can bring us to a place imaginatively and even and perhaps even the day when we do do go into our grandmother's velvet garden, perhaps it is where we came from. And so we're returning to that oasis. Okay. Now that we have that, I might run a basting stitch through that top line to nestle the two layers of the veil together. As our shadows are casted, or cast, not casted, but the shadows are cast by our hands onto the board as this is created. What is the depth that they might be revealing to our degrees of relationship? Seen from different places that they occupy. As these two veils come together, and then we're going to stitch down along the side of the veils that join. Where are the edges of the veil? Have you found the edge? The edge where it lifts? The edge where it compromises? Anything that you have perceived before? The edge where it materializes. Even what's before you now. What do you see before you now? I feel like I just felt a pain spread across like the middle of my back as I breathe. Something that's behind us. Maybe something that's behind the veils. Is it something that's behind our experience? Are we behind our experience, or is our experience behind us? Or perhaps they're interwoven and intertwined together. Pasting now the bottom edge of the green. This is like where I felt the pain was kind of beneath my heart chakra, behind me. So, is there a part of our reality that we're not acknowledging or not seeing? Maybe something that we need to pay attention to. How do we know what we do not know? How do we see each other's perspectives? Like truly see each other's perspectives and not just project our presumptions onto it.
Does everything look okay to you guys? Great.
So, okay, something needs to be released. I need to release something behind me. Is it an aspect of myself that
I don't really have.
Maybe I'm holding on to?
I think that trial is separate from an age, right?
Is it an aspect of my childhood?
That's what they're saying. You didn't have any records from that age.
Okay.
I guess. I mean, they should have, when they pointed last year, they should have saying, okay, here's your records from there.
As that happens, if there's pain that's concentrating in one part of my body, then instead of focusing on that, I can focus on the rest of my body, do a body scan down to my toes and my feet and my ankles, up through my legs, up through my chest, out my shoulders, down my arms, out my fingers, up my neck, and my head and my face. breathing in a breath that fills all of that space, all of the space that creates my materialized form. As the intelligence of my being recalibrates itself. Alright, so we have our two layers. Joined together. Okay. I think the green is going to be reflecting and the red is going to be reflecting, so let's come back here, stitch down those shapes, and then we can trim. And we'll stitch it with the red or the green. I'm gonna stitch it with the green. I wonder what stitch I want to do. I'm thinking of some kind of blanket stitch.
I don't even know if she could figure this out. I just prefer to see one person.
Starting up in the center. What does the doctor have to order? What do you? What material do you order? Is it the seeds? Is it the seeds of the future? Is it the seeds of the future? I almost want to do like a chain stitch coming down here, but let's do it from the front.
I'm not going to try to keep solving all of my daily issues with some more stuff, so I'm just kind of looking around and see what happens.
What are the seeds of the future? Is that the medicine you're planting? Is that the medicine you're planting?
I just never have taken it before and nothing, it's just I don't notice anything.
Medicine you're planting. Medicine you're planting.
Hardly remember much.
What is the seeds you're planting? Where are the seeds you're planting? In grandmother's garden.
Well, I mean, even just getting used to them.
The medicine you're planting, is it consensual? Is it consensual to your authority for the authoring of existence, of your existence? Who authors your existence? Is it you? Is it? Who is it? The authoring of our existence, authority beyond binary, whose authority is your authority beyond? Is is your authority beyond? How do you reach the stars? How do you reach the stars? How do you reach the edge of reason? How do you reach the edge of treason? On the top of the trees, the bird perches. What does it see? What does it see? What does the fox say? But for real, what does the owl say in your mind? Conspiracy theory, tertiary, blinded by the light mirror, reflecting reflections. Oh, you see the chain of green, reflecting reflections beyond the sea of green, beyond the sea of green. Can I reach the knot? Oh, we got it. Okay. So I'm making this knot here, except for it is here. If we read between the stitches, for every truth is a half-truth. Alright, we have one so far. What have we won? Of one chain of green. Okay. One chain of green. And cutting a new thread. Wonder if I do this, can you see? You can see me, but you also see this. You also see this massive light, so I don't think that's gonna work. I was thinking maybe I could find a way for you to see my face while I'm sewing on the ironing board, but alas, it will be just our hands. The hands that reach. The hands that reach. Okay. Stitching here. Streaming for you and me. Anchoring in for our next green chain. The green chain that connects us to the cycles of death, rebirth, and our dear tending. Our dear tending. Seems as if I would like to enter or begin the chain a little bit further over, so I'm going to tunnel it through. And re-anchor. So, amidst one anchor, one perceivable anchor, we might think about the roots that go beyond even that within our own and ancestors, within our own blood. And this relationship, especially as we balance out the double thread, as two vines might wrap around each other, crawling up the branch. I've been seeing so many vines crawling up the trunks of trees, and I wonder if it's an invasive thing happening. Because there are particular vines that I've seen only on trees that have fallen. And it makes me wonder about that. Was it I feel like I like thinking about things beyond cause and effect, beyond like a binary mode of expressions, because nature is beyond binary thought. Beyond beyond the categories that humans might create. And into multiplicity. And in this multiplicity, as we mirror the song of the reflecting green chain, what is the medicine you plant in your mind, in your mind? Oh, oh, in your mind, in my mind, what is our combined medicine? What is our combined medicine? What is this combination of intelligence that circulates through our body, that gives rise to our dance, to our daily ritual? So thankful to have been able to create these reflecting chains today. As our heart, the green, tends to our roots, like, is it regrafting our roots, or is it like letting our little vessels sit in the water, sit in the source of life, soak in the plane of imagination until our roots start to sink in? Linking our chains down, 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 deep into the earth, finding other chains to link. When our bonds and our connections have so much depth, like depth in the mystery, depth in this like network. That does not see the light of day. It is dark and it is chaotic and unclear. medicine you plant. Okay. Now we trim. Oh, we're not really going to trim all of the threads right now, but here's what we do have. So oop, a little horn in there, a little bound horn from previous. Okay. So there we have something. And we have 2 reflective chains. Oh, we need to think about where this will be too. Maybe centered between them. Alright, there will be more to come tomorrow, or today's Friday, so we might continue our rituals through the weekend. We might resume on Monday, so we'll see. So stay tuned. For now, we want to thank you as we release the imaginative plane. We release as we stand on the land with the sky above. And the sea below. We release the elements of fire, earth, water, and air. Thank you. We'll see you next time.